Hi guys, and welcome to my review for the TANSIOMIRAI FEAT. This is the latest from TANSIOMIRAI, a 2+2 hybrid, which goes and fetch some inspiration on its sibling, the 10th anniversary, which is a 2 + 4 + 1. Anyway, this is the box of the TANSIOMIRAI. Simple, straight to the point, no frills, very classy always. You open it up, the IEMs came over there. Lift this out. Underneath we have a cleaning tool, that's that, and then on this side we have obviously the cable and the carrying case. Let's go by parts here. The case itself is nice and pocketable. Is it user friendly in the sense of will you fit the cable and the IEMs inside here nicely? Personally, I don't think so. As for the cable, it's a nice cable. I like these cables. I've actually bought these cables separately from PENON. You know, the issue here with the cable only is one. It's this ear hook, which is very it's very tough. It's very pronounced and does have a tendency of yanking out the IEM from the ears. Other than that, it measures nicely. It's a solid cable. I like the terminations. It's a 4.4 termination. You know, I like that. It's a nice cable. It's just a pity that it's that ear hook, which is easily resolvable, and that's it. So it's not even a real criticism. It's just it is what it is. That's it. Okay, so let's put this away here. On the back of the box, there's some information about the IEM itself. They mentioned that it uses a medical grade resin shell, which I'll show to you in a second, and they also talk about it using Sonian and Knowles BAs. At least that's the indication that I have here. Yeah, exactly. As for the shell itself, nice shell. It's a very nice, very nicely built shell. It's got a nice smoked color. The faceplate is the business. It looks very, very premium. It looks very smart. I have to say it does. This IEM is obviously available from PENON. The cost is $199. So in terms of its look, its built, it ticks the right boxes. Let's put it that way. The size of the shell, it's fine for me. I have no criticisms there. I will, however, say it's a little bit on the large size if you consider it's only using basically 3 drivers. You can see here, those are the BAs there, okay, and that's the dynamic driver there on that side. It's a dual diaphragm dynamic driver. So the shell, the majority of the shell is actually quite empty. There isn't a lot to be had inside of it. That's it. It fits nicely. I'm using the stock tips. The stock tips that PENON and in this case TANSIOMIRAI supply are always quite nice. I really enjoy these tips. They fit me beautifully. They've got very much a same sort of profile as the KB ear tips, the 07s, or the Acouston tips as well, or the BGVP tips as well. They follow that sort of profile in terms of the sound, although obviously of course they are either this light green with this light green with this white, or this light green with the smoke. Okay, and there you have it. So nicely built IEM, you know, interesting configuration, 2+2. And yeah, that's not, there's really not much more that I can say with regards to that. As for what I took out to compare it, and I didn't, to be honest with you, I didn't want to complicate things, so I just brought out 2 IEMs that, well, the 10th, the TANSIOMIRAI 10th, which the FEAT has got some let's say loose inspiration on. It uses also 8mm diaphragm, dual diaphragm dynamic driver. This is 2 BAs, that's 4, but this, I think you'll understand why I've got this here. And I've got here the Hype, which is again the same sort of configuration, 2+2. The difference here is that the Hype uses 2 dual 10mm drivers. You can see them, but it's not easy because the shell doesn't. This darker shell is you have to really shine a light on it. But anyway, it's a 2+2 configuration. 10mm dynamic drivers there, while it's 8mm dual diaphragms over here. So there's more, let's say, displacement on that side. In terms of the sources that I used, I thought it because of the way that I started hearing it and the sound that I was getting from it, I thought it would be interesting to show how it sounded with warmer sounding and then, let's say, more clinical sounding dongles. So I've got here the S-Line Martha, which is more clinical. Let me actually put it this way. There we go. I've got the M15 from Q-Style. I've got the EPZ, the TP30. All of these, they have, although they're using ESS DAC chips, they all have a very different approach to that tuning or to that implementation. And then I've got here the TP50 and the Dew4X, and as well the Q15. In terms of the most cost-effective ones here, price bang for the buck, let's put it that way, I would say the TP30 and the Dew-X are probably the two standout ones here. Okay, let's get into the sound then. The moment you listen to the FEAT, and when I listened to the FEAT the first time, I listened to it on the Q15. You are straight away greeted with a very warm, very cozy type of sound. Which I personally like, I appreciate, but on certain songs, on specific songs, I was finding that there was missing something. There was a little bit of a detail that was missing there. Like, for example, Keep Pushing from Les Stabler. A little bit more, excuse me, a little bit more of twinklies and sparklies would have been welcomed. And just to make sure that I wasn't expecting something that wasn't reality, wasn't the reality, I then listened to those two on the same Q15, and yes, those two were able to have that little extra amount of sparkle or of twinklies and sparkle, especially in that part there after the initial pin again, which I'll show you afterwards in the graph. So after the peak at 3K and when it starts dropping off, so upper mids and treble, the FEAT has been tuned in a very smooth, warm manner, and because it's very laid back in that aspect, you find that it can be a little bit lacking in detail at times. Now, having said all of that, and you might think, oh no, but so it hasn't got details, or it's not, no. It's just that you have to be, first of all, more attentive to what you're going to use as a source. And the moment I used, for example, the ESS ones from either from Ideas or for the Q-Style or the EPZ, the moment that detail that was missing, I immediately got it. So my rec straight away to start with is, if you do decide on buying the FEAT, be sure that first of all you are a person that is not expecting crazy amounts of upper mids and treble. Okay, what is there will be of good quality, but you need to choose a brighter sounding source so as to give it to you. If you choose a darker sounding source, like for example the Q15 or the Colorfly as well, I also tried the Colorfly, the M1P, it will be perhaps overly closed, overly dark. At least that's how I perceived it and how it came across. Another song that, for example, it's very noticeable what I'm talking here is Home from Dominique Feels Aimé. Dominique Feels Aimé, sorry. Or Do It in Luxury from Chris Botti is another song that you will notice exactly what I'm talking about very easily. Button Up Your Overcoat from Nina Freeland as well. Another song that you will notice this difference between the different dongles and how they interact with the FEAT. So the main thing here to keep in mind is the selection of the source is important. With regards to the two Cirrus Logic implementations here, I have to say that I was actually surprised. Usually Cirrus Logic has kind of like the in-between, and it was interesting to see how different the sound on the FEAT was between the Dew and the TP50. And again, this has to do with the fact that the Dew does have a more warmer type of I'm not going to even say tuning, because tuning is not the right word, but the way that they've implemented the 43198 on the Dew has given the Dew a more warmer sounding. And when we listen to the same 43198 on the TP50, it's got a little bit more detail. So it's actually interesting to see how with different implementations of as well the 43198 chips, you get a different sound, a slightly different sound from the FEAT. Mind you, that's exactly as well what happened here. For example, the one that was the cleanest without any doubt and the most polished was the M15, and then the EPZ. The Martha sound very clean, but the moment you actually started pushing and you know, wanting a little bit more volume, it kind of lost its composure somehow. The way that it was interacting was making the FEAT sound, especially in that area there of 1.5 to 3K, 3.5K. It was sounding a little bit too unpolished as compared to these two. Okay, so that's it. So bass, very nicely executed bass. It's a little bit, like I said, a little bit on the warmer side. It's got very much that organic type of old school kind of sound. And what you do find that the different decks that you use, or the different source that you use, will help out is in making that bass just a little bit more incisive, a little bit more cleaner. If you use a warmer source, the bass will come across as being a little bit overly mellow. It just like kind of lingers on. It's nice, it's pleasurable, but it's all about, you know, it's kind of buttery. While if you use an ESS or a cleaner sounding, a more clinical sounding source, it maintains all of that buttery smoothness, but it's just a little bit, it's not as slippery, if that would be the best word to use. Okay, mids, honestly, I've got no complaints. The mids sounded fine to me. Perfect in terms of their tonality and the timbre. Male vocals, female vocals was fine. Instruments as well sounded very realistic. Mind you, let me just say that I did the majority of the listening afterwards. Once I detected this issue of the selection of the source being very much affecting the sound, I did the majority of the listening with with both of the EPZs, either with the ESS or with the 43198. These two were the ones I used the most. Highs. The way that they've been tuned, they never are aggressive. That's the reality, and it doesn't matter if it's a warm source or a clinical source. They are never aggressive. They're always very relaxed, very smooth, and you know, at least you can say that you don't have any BA timbre or any signs of any unnecessary BA timbre. But anyway, when you see the graph, you'll also see what I mean. In terms of its technical capabilities, timbre and tonality, I think, is the one that it does the best. It's got very much that, like I said, that organic, old school type of sound. In terms of its soundstage, it's fine. I wouldn't have minded a little bit bigger soundstage, but it's fine. I'm not really going to complain, because again, it's the way that it was tuned. It was tuned to be a more warmer sounding kind of IM, and an IM tailored for people that are not very big fans of excessive, or not excessive, that's not even the word, but are very big fans of treble and so on. So based on that, I will say that it's acceptable. Imaging as well, the same thing. The only thing that in reality I would have liked a little bit more, but again, like I said, if you choose your source carefully, that can be mitigated, is a little bit more details, just a little bit more twinklies and sparklies. All right, and then again, that also might be just because I'm getting old and my hearing is going down the toilet. So you know, take that with a grain of salt. As compared then with the hype and with the Tansio, the 10th anniversary, obviously this is $199, this is $299, this is $399, so they are more expensive. So you are going to be expecting different results, and the results are different compared to its brother, the Tansio. And I'm actually going to start there. It's not really in the bass or in the majority of the mids that you see the difference. The difference that you see there is then in the upper mids treble, where that's got a lot more detail, and that extra amount of detail that it has translates to then making the whole tonality and the timbre of the bass and of the lower mids to be just a little bit more cleaner, a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more engaging. So it makes things a little bit more resolving. And that's the biggest difference that you will notice between the two of them. It's that this is warmer, more mellow, more buttery, while that is all of what I've just mentioned, but it's got that extra amount of energy up top to make things just a little bit more clean. I'm sure you guys are understanding what I'm trying to say. As compared to the Hype 2, in the bass, I have to admit that I liked more the bass of the Hype 2. It's just that little extra cleaner, that little little bit more more detailed. It's a better bass overall. I'm not going to deny that I didn't prefer it. I did prefer it. In terms of the let's say the upper mids, not really the upper mids, but then the transition from the mids to the upper mids, this is a little bit recessed. By being a little bit recessed, sometimes vocals can sound just a little bit backwards as compared to, for example, the FEAT. However, it makes up for that, in my opinion, by having then upper mids and treble, which are more, but way more energetic than the FEAT. And this then gives that more twinkly and sparkly sensation to the sound. The overall kind of, let's say, best way that I could kind of explain what the difference here will be is this will ultimately sound a little bit more V-shaped with slightly recessed mids, while this will sound like a warm neutral. I know that I'm perhaps not using the best way of describing this, but that's how they will sound, okay? This will be more, you will notice more the difference between the bass and the highs, and the mids being just a little bit behind. This, you feel that the bass and the mids are all very much on par with each other, and then it's the highs that kind of go down. So you have this type of presentation: bass, mids, highs, while there you have bass, mids, highs. I think that's the best way that I could try and explain this. Like I said, you know, this is not really me saying that this is better than that, or this one is better than that, or no, this is just for you to understand where this positions itself. It positions itself as a warmer sounding IEM that will please those that are not going to be detailed freaks, and I would even dare say, although I don't want to give that idea of the FEAT, that this would probably satisfy a lot of us that like our bass. You know, that, you know, look, for lack of a better way of putting it, this will definitely do a lot of stuff that supposedly the Hades was intended to do properly, will definitely do that better. Why? Because at least it has the mids and the highs to complement and to keep up with the bass that it's capable of doing. I think that's the best way that I can describe. So this, I'm not saying this is a bass head IM. That this is not intended to be a bass head IM. It was intended to be a warmer, more organic, more old school type of sounding IM. But it does those genres, so hip hop, and I listen to actually a few things. I mean, one of the songs that I've been listening now quite a lot lately is some electronic Drunken Divina from Helmet Ebrich, and I Don't Know from Cloud Charm. The bass on that, of this song on that there, wow, you know, like it sounds serious. It sounds really serious, and when you consider it's 8mm. You are even more impressed. Okay, anyway guys, I'll show you another graphs, and as always, you know, if there are other comparisons that you would like me to do, I'll definitely do it, because of course, this being at the price point that it is, it's gonna be going up against things like, you know, a full Performer 5, Tansiom Cara, the Puller PA02, the CK LVX, the SL41, and the D41. We've got the Chopin. We have a whole bunch of other IMs which are at this price range that I can compare if you guys want. I just didn't compare because I found them to have a completely different type of approach in terms of the sound to this one, and it wouldn't be, in my opinion, a fair comparison. But again, I repeat, if you guys do want me to make a comparison that way, I will do it. Anyway, let me show you another graphs and we'll wrap it up. Hi guys, and welcome now to the graph section here for the TANSIOMIRAI, the FEAT. This is the graph of the FEAT. So as you can see, a very prominent sub bass execution. I mean, there's no bleed into the mids. So what I was saying earlier, that in terms of the bass and the mids, it sounded fine. It sounds beautiful. Now, don't forget one thing. It is 8mm, so it doesn't sound as excessive as you would think here. In terms of the pin, again, it's very, very smooth, very relaxed. Picks at about 3Ks, and then it starts dropping off. And then, like past 10, there's very little there, or what is present is very, very relaxed, very subdued. Okay, so ultimately, the sound, like I was saying earlier, it's a warmer sound that will have just enough details and will have just enough information in the upper mids and treble, but it will be very much dependent as well on what sort of source are you connecting up to it. With the high dis, what I was finding was that this area between, let's say, 1.5 and 3 was sounding just a little bit too much as compared to the other, the hype and the 10th. You also connected up with the S9, so I can only assume that it's the S9 that's being the issue there, and not necessarily the IEM, because with the other decks I didn't, with the other dongles I didn't find this issue. So that's the FEAT. This now is the 10th in the 0-1-1 position. So as you can see, basically the majority of the lower mids and the mids are very identical. Even up the mids are very, very, very identical. There's a little bit more mid bass, but this is because of the setting that I have used. If it's another setting, this will be a little bit less. But this is the setting that I listen to. This is the setting that I like listening to the 10th on. And then, yes, definitely more treble and more extension past 10K. And this is very noticeable. This amount of extra details that this comes in, it's there. There's no denying it. The rest, it's very much the same thing. In terms of the bass and the mids, I would say that they are kind of very similar in the way that they come across. Just a little bit extra cleanliness, a little bit snappiness in the way that they do come across on the 10th, because of this energy here that does help clean the rest up. Okay, and compared to the Hype 2, it's like I was saying as well. Don't forget, the Hype 2 has got two 10mm drivers, so there's physically two diaphragms actually producing bass, while on the FEAT we only have the area of one. Although it's two, it's only the area of one which actually is moving air. So the bass on the Hype is definitely more, and that's why it sounds more V-shaped than the FEAT does. Also, this part here between 1 and 3 is a little bit more recessed, so it even accentuates more that V-ish, that recessed slight in the vocals. But then it makes up with, you know, nice detailed in terms of the treble and the extension past 10K. It's this area here is an area that I've enjoyed from day one on the Hype 2. I think it's very well done. It never bugged me. It's really, really nice. It kind of the Hype 2 is always giving me very much the same sort of vibe as the Yume 2, for example. I've always thought that the Yume 2 was really well tuned, and it just didn't. I think the C Audio just took too long in launching it, and when it launched, the excitement for it was subdued. But anyway, comparing the Hype 2 with the FEAT, it's like I said. These are actually will be very good complements to each other, if I have to be truthful. Why? Because on the one hand, you have the more warmer, neutral-ish kind of sound of the FEAT, and then on the other you have that more engaging V type of signature of the Hype 2. So they could be good complements for each other, I guess. And that's it, guys. I hope I was able to shed some light on the FEAT. And like I said earlier, if there's other comparisons that you would like me to do, I'll do my best to make that happen. All right, you take care now. Bye bye.